All right, Scorp. Like I said before during the preview, what the hell? What is going on with the changes that are happening that you're having a hard time accepting? And what is it about these changes that are making you look at yourself in a distorted way? So, mummy, change. This talks about how change is inevitable and that no matter how hard you try, things will not be preserved exactly the same way, which can be difficult because change is not an easy thing for any fixed sign. But it's going to affect you more so emotionally. But the changes that are happening, like I said, are going to make you look at yourself differently. And I almost feel like self-punishment here for some of you. Now, the other thing that Mummy talks about is that this changes for the better, right? But this is something that stuck out to me. It says, you are not cursed. You have just developed a pattern. It says that you can take control and change it. So what patterns have you developed? And why is it that the change that's happening now is making you look at yourself in a bad way? So acceptance. This one, like I said, it says, are you assessing yourself accurately? Or are you distorting your reality in a self-defeating way? Can you simply accept yourself? It talks about new ways of seeing yourself, embracing imperfections, feeling incomplete, and selling yourself short. And that stuck out to me too, because it's almost like if this change is happening and it's inevitable and it's something better, why is it that you feel like you may not be worth what's coming, the change that's happening? You know, so it's almost like something good is coming through, but you're looking at yourself going, yeah, but there's all these things wrong with me, you know? All right. Here's your overall. Ew. The Five of Wands. Why? Conflict, fighting, people, you know, not hearing each other, you know, and then I look at the candle dropped and just burning. You know, and things getting out of control, a situation that may be escalating, right? Sorry, guys. Damn cold. But we'll see how this is playing out. You know, I look at this as people, you know, purposely being combative, you know, beyond dealing with like competition and things like that. But, you know, that to me is telling something that's gonna get out of control. Oh boy. In the past, judgment. Yeah, man. But why? That bothers me. Judgment as far as the past. This to me is saying that for some of you, you've had to go back and look at a situation here in order to lay it to rest. That is what judgment is about. It's not about, you know, you facing past actions, being judged for it. The only judgment we ever truly face is our own. But it's really about needing to go back and look at a situation that you may have seen inaccurately. And now it's making a different assessment on that, but it's in order to be okay with the past. Now, this could be something that you've already laid to rest in your life, and now it's coming back up. But with the Five of Wands, there's a battle about it. You know, and now this could definitely be about internal conflict, though, with the Five of Wands going on. Okay, in the present, the Queen of Coins, or the Queen of Pentacles. So looking at her, you know, immediately I feel the need to be, you know, secure and self-sufficient. You know, and again, like insecurities, you know, we didn't have insecurity show up, but there are things that you're having a hard time accepting about yourself, right? But she's more about being responsible for creating stability, not just for herself, but everybody that is close to her. You know, you can do all that, right? So this is basically saying that there is a situation that you may not need in your life right now, or some of you may feel like you need to get to this place where you feel self-sufficient before you can accept any changes or anything else coming through. Now, again, this could be about a person, male, female, earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But, you know, like I always say, for me, it's more about the personality. Because as far as that goes, it could be anywhere in somebody's chart, beyond sun, moon, and rising. You know, but it could be because of a person coming through that, you know, you've already kind of like laid this situation to rest. But things are escalating here. Okay. This is like saying, and absolutely, because, I see the conflict that's going on. And somebody may not be, if you're dealing with a person here, they may not be understanding your point of view on all of this. Because you're already coming from a place of, I've already assessed all this. It's something that I've already accepted that it is what it is, and I've left it alone. There's no reason for it to come back up, but here it is again. And it's bringing up feelings of possible insecurity here. But you needing to, again, feel like, you are secure with yourself and self-sufficient, more in tune with yourself, your surroundings, all those beautiful things with the Queen of Cups, or the Queen of Coins. Oh my goodness. But anyway, the Seven of Cups, being in future conditions out of all of this, is like saying, it's just fantasy. It's just something that I like to fantasize about, but is the conflict and the things escalating over, you wanting to make something real. But the Seven of Cups is about fantasizing about how things could be, beyond dealing with different options. It's really about the emotional attachment that you have to a specific outcome, but it's not real. So it's almost like saying, I've already put this down. I know that it's not going to be, but I'm okay with fantasizing about what it could possibly be. But that could be just enough to get things stirred up in you. Or like I said, it's about another person going, I don't understand your point of view. I don't understand why you're seeing it that way, why you see that this is not possible. Because this is you and how you're looking at it. Whatever this is. Career options, relationship things coming through. But it is something specifically from the past that you've already looked at and said no. It's been laid to rest. And now it's like being resurrected. Oh my God. Relationship? Possibly. Oh, okay. Sorry guys, I need to take a drink of this caramel macchiato. It sucks because I'm so sick that I can't even taste it. I just know that it's cold and it helps my throat. The Two of Cups being your best path to follow. Now, and think about this, with the Five of Wands being the overall, it's really about getting to a place of understanding with somebody in particular, one person here. The Two of Cups is two people seeing nothing but each other. Nothing else in the world exists. You see everything the same way. You're reciprocating your emotions, your thoughts, your ideas, all of that. All of it. Can you come to an understanding? Can you see things the same way? You can't force somebody to see your point of view. You can explain it. But maybe what you need to start seeing is, how the other person is seeing things. Especially if you're having a hard time accepting change and seeing things in a distorted way. But a relationship, getting a relationship back on track. Now, the Two of Cups could be any relationship, right? As far as the soulmate card, as far as that goes, anybody is your soulmate. I mean, we're all connected, right? But it's interesting and it's telling. Oh my God. Look at, so in your environment, you have the Queen of Swords. Now, absolutely, like I say, for me, the court cards, as far as general readings go, can be, male or female, but absolutely this could be about female-female situation here. A female-female relationship where we need to get to an understanding, right? And again, it could be any relationship. It could be love, it could be family, it could be friends. But the Queen of Swords in your environment, if we're talking about you and what you're internalizing, it's like you're being a bitch. Cold, shut off. No. I'm not going to play these games, but yet you do. Because you go back to this place of what could be, what possibly could be, but what you're not willing to make reality. Especially if you don't believe that a certain outcome is going to happen. or at least not the way that you're seeing it in your own mind. Bipolar, some of you, maybe. And that's just me being honest, especially with that Five of Wands being there. But it's all about getting to a place of understanding, though, with that Two of Cups being there. Wow. Now, for some of you, you could be dealing with a person who's really pushing you, though. And that's why the situation is getting heated. Because I keep seeing that with that Five of Wands. You're wrong. You're wrong in the way that you're seeing things. You're being too stubborn. You've already called it, but maybe that's not it. It's coming back for a reason. You need to relook at this. You feel, a little bit insecure with all of this because, you don't see how anything is going to happen, but I keep going back to that. Wow, Scorpio, the hell is going on? Oh, okay. Your hopes and your fears, the Five of Pentacles or the Five of Coins. I look at that and I think that for a lot of you, you don't want to get, emotionally invested in something that is not going to turn out the way that you see it. Which is why we're saying it's okay to fantasize and not make it reality, because rejection is something that you don't want to face, that you don't want to deal with. I don't think that this is about you being on the outside of a situation, because that would have been one of the major energies here, because we're talking about hopes and fears, right? Now, again, we're looking at needing to come to, some kind of understanding, a better relationship with someone, and not be in this place where you're not seeing things the same way anymore, because you've already called it. And that's you. You've already called it. It is what it is. There's no reason for it to come back up. And I think that that's why a lot of you are kind of being like, But I think that that's you in terms of what you're doing to yourself, though. Because you don't believe that it's going to turn out a certain way, which would make sense why, I don't want to follow through on this, because I don't want to be rejected. Wow, man. Oh, and then coming out, the Nine of Coins or the Nine of Pentacles. And that may be the issue. And again, I go back to the Queen of Coins, and I think, for a lot of you, it's going to be about, I need to feel secure with myself. But not only that, but, I'm good on my own. I have everything that I need. But are you doing the gilded cage type of thing here and not allowing yourself to realize things that could possibly be? Especially when it comes to relationships. Oh, this is going to be about something that you want, first of all. Death. I mean, come on. With Judgment, yeah. And again, change. And needing to accept change. But maybe the change that you're seeing isn't accurate, though. And the reason why I say that is because of the Five of Wands, because clearly somebody else is not seeing it the same way that you are. It's done. It's over with. There is no going back. But, oh yes, something is being resurrected. And I do think that you are going through a serious internal battle here when it comes to this. Not only do I think that it has to do with another person not understanding why you're seeing things only as a fantasy, but I also think that you're fighting with yourself between needing to feel secure and needing to stick to the judgment that you've already passed on this situation, especially with death being there. But the thing is the Nine of Cups is saying that there's something you want. And that's clear with the Seven of Cups, because you can see it. You can see how good something can be, but you're not willing to test the waters, so to speak. This reminds me of something that I talk about a lot. So for me, especially with relationships, a lot of the reason why, my younger years, I would step back is because I always believed that reality would kill the fantasy. And I think that that kind of goes along with what you're fearing here. And I think that for a lot of you, you're just like, I'm good on my own, right? Or we're talking about you needing to get to a place of independence here before you can actually look at doing something to get what you want, to get what's going to bring you happiness. But with the Four of Cups, it's like, no, you're I need to maintain the stability that I have right now because I don't want anything to change, but it is changing. It is changing. And for a lot of you, the change is going to have to do with your relationships, which it fucking makes sense. With goddamn Venus being in Scorpio, I hate it when it's there. I always feel bad for people when they tell me they have Venus and Scorpio, like, oh God. You know, it's one thing to feel like it's either black or white, you know, it's all or nothing, but to feel that in love, that's even more difficult, right? But it's like, no, I don't want change. We have to maintain things the way that they are with that Four of Pentacles, that Four of Coins, you know? You've already called it. You've already said that it's not happening. It died a long time ago. There's no point in it coming back, but it is. It is. It is. It is. It is. And I think that you're doing everything that you can to kind of block it out. But I think that, you know, at least for some of you, you're going to have to get to a place where, you know, there's at least some kind of understanding between you and another person before things get out of control. And that may be, you know, the problem here. You don't want things to get out of control. And that may be where you're fighting yourself. I want to feel secure. I want this, but I don't want my security to be put in question. So I'm going to be, you know, a bitch with that Queen of Swords. I'm going to block it out. Interesting. So magic and unique gifts, right? Magic, being able to see the magic in everything. And the magic opens up once we start communicating. In that communication may be your unique gift right now. Or once communication opens up, then you can start tapping into your unique gifts and being able to create something out of nothing here. Or what you feel like is not going to be anything. It's interesting. Infinite abundance. Abundance is pouring into your life. And then fogged in. Go slow. Take time. So there's no need to, you know, make a definite decision or, you know, be stubborn. There's no point in doing any of that. You don't have to do that right now. Just take your time with the situation because clearly you're not seeing anything here. The situation is not clear. But there is going to be, you know, that abundance that's going to be pouring into you that is going to be beyond, I think, you know, just on your own. Because that's great and all that you can do everything on your own and, you know, you're financially secure and stable and independent and all that good shit. But there's something you're wanting. And you can see it, but you don't want to manifest it. And I think it has to do with worried about it. My God, if I could talk right. I think a lot of it has to do with you being worried about being rejected. But there's something about a relationship and understanding. And the situation is going to continue to escalate. And it's going to continue to be a battle, especially internally for a lot of you. But there's also going to be the battle going on between you and another person. And we need to get back to a place of seeing things the same way. But I don't think that you're in a place to do that. And that's fine. Because you don't have to do anything right now. You know, because again, the situation isn't clear for you. Just take your time with it. But be careful. Be careful about putting yourself in a place where, you know, I don't want anything to change.